Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited that you're back on my show today. This is Tonya Hofmann, and this is my show, and I am so glad that you're back with us today. I have the Alan Edge with us. Hey, Alan.
Howdy. How you doing?
So Alan's a performance coach, and he's going to come in and talk to us and educate us and give us so much excitement that you're going to just love it. So don't miss a second. And I always give you some great tips, and one of the tips today is to stand out. Stop disappearing. Stop getting in the corner and not shining your brilliance. And a lot of that brilliance is about being weird. All the fabulous people I know, all the millionaires and billionaires that I know are just plain weird. They're unusual people. They have unusual things. They own how fabulous they are, no matter if it's their strange voice, if it's their big nose, their funky teeth, their hair, whatever it is. It makes them who they are. So who are you, and how can you own that even more? That's what I'm talking about. That's going to make you lots of money if you just say it's okay with being weird, with standing out. And that's why I wanted Alan to come in today, because he's so amazing. And he is a performance coach, and that's what he teaches people, is how to kind of stand out and how to kind of own their presence. So Alan, tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Well, I am, as you said, performance coach. My background primarily is the theater. I've been in theater for over 45 years. Started in high school at Hales Franciscan High School, go Hales. And but since then, I've become stand-up comedian, director, producer. And while now as a performance coach, I've come to realize that the basics of theater make a difference in any type of performance, whether you're a singer, a dancer, an actor, or a musician, professional speaker, that the ability to bring the rudiments and use your whole body, mind, and soul to communicate make all the difference between good and great.
Awesome. So what is like the thing that you see most people just don't do well when they get up on stage or in front of anybody?
Well, one of the things, ironically enough, is your tip of the day. Being weird, standing out. For those of us who are maybe a little older, like myself, we were taught not to do that. Sit down. You should be seen and not heard. You're just showing off. You're just, and so those things are so ingrained in us that we don't give ourselves permission to stand out, or permission to speak. And because that's the way you think, that's the way it comes out of your mouth. Like, I'm so sorry. And you hear a lot of apologizing. I hate that when people speak, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing. They constantly have this air of apology that in their communication, and it's contagious to your audience. And it weakens what you have to say.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen incredible presenters ruin their entire presentation by getting up on stage and going, this is my first time to do this.
Oh,
or
geez.
this is my first time to do this particular presentation. I'm so sorry that, or, oh, I'm so sorry my PowerPoint isn't working right. Well, nobody knows anything. Stop.
Exactly. I mean, I do stand-up comedy, and I go to open mics. And when I go to an open mic, yes, it's a laboratory. Yes, we're working on new material. But I always train, whether it's comedy or theater, the first day one of our training, when we're doing exercises and warm-ups and all that kind of rudimentary stuff, I said, you must always have the air of performance level. You always should assume that you are doing the show now in front of 5,000 people. Even if you're just going, "May me, mama, moo," it should be, "May me, mama, moo," as if it's performance, and that makes habits. Habits, for me, is another way for freedom. I don't like to think. And so if I got habits, it frees me up from thinking, and I can focus in on my content.
Love it. I know, I remember back in the days in 2005 when I was just starting to come out of my shell, and I was such an introvert, you know, because just like you saying, you know, be quiet. You're talking too loud, Tonya. So I had developed this really quiet voice because people
Mhm.
had told me my whole life I was too loud.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a networking group, and, you know, there was about 50 people. And I was like, hi, I'm Tonya. And no reaction, no one wanting to do business with me, nothing. And I started realizing the people who were standing out, the people who were projecting, were the ones that people would come over to. And so I started going, hello, everybody, I'm Tonya Hofmann, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And as soon as I started with motion and projecting and being loud and owning how loud I was, things just started exploding.
And it's probably even more so with females. You know, if you're loud and if you're overt and extroverted, there's a stigma with that, a negative stigma with that. So that's something else for a female speaker or performer to overcome, that mindset.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, and we have a tendency to, I think, especially for women, we have a tendency wanting to kind of cower down
Hmm.
and not be seen because it's safer.
Exactly.
I was always I want to be a safe person, but when you're
Yeah.
safe, nothing happens to you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even good things don't happen to you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a poor dog that don't wag his own tail.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
It's from the old country.
I love that. I love that. And you know, and it's all about kind of owning who you are. I know there's a term and it's like deep Mexico and it's called de Gnosco Musco. Now, I know some of you Spanish people are going to go, oh my gosh, you really ruined that. But my husband's family says it all the time. De Gnosco Musco means I know you, little mosquito. Do
Uh-huh.
you know yourself, right? And do you
Yes.
own that you're a mosquito or that you know
Hmm.
that you're, you know, different or, you know, whatever it is?
And it makes a difference even whether one of the rudiments of stand-up comedy is assessing who you are and using it to write material. If you're overweight or short or extremely wealthy or extremely poor, whatever your situation is usually a good source for your humor. Well, also it works also in other means of communication. Is I'm short, I'm tall, or it's one guy. I worked at a Christian television station, and when we had a telethon, this guy would come on and speak, and he has cerebral palsy. And his regular mantra was, I have cerebral palsy. What's your excuse? And that was his thing. That was his hook. And he spoke more. He had more speaking engagements than there were days in the year, literally. But that was his hook. He realized this is who I am. And so often as communicators, when we're in front of people, a lot of times we may want to discount who we are. I hope they don't see this, or I got zits, or it's you. Like you said, I am what I am. Is the immortal words of Popeye, and that's all that I am. So you have to own that.
And people, you know, the whole, oh, I don't want to make sure I've got green things in my teeth
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
if I
yeah,
got a pimple, oh no, you know,
yeah.
people really don't care. You know,
Really,
you're
they
looking
don't.
at, your audience looks at, are you bringing value to me? Are you giving me some
Yes.
information that I need, that you're going to help me in some way? And people don't really care. They don't care if you're overweight or you're underweight, or they just want what's in it for them.
And A, they want the value that you bring, and B, they're looking at you. If there is something that you determine is a negative, let's say it's true. They're looking at you with that negative and you're still being bold. That in itself is a message to them.
Oh, yes. And one of the things that I usually have to do for my clients, because, you know, trying to get them out of the mindset of being perfect,
Yes.
right? If you're perfect, you are not relatable. There's a couple ladies that I know that are my clients, and they are having a really hard time because it's been their whole life about that perfection
Ah.
model. And now they're unrelatable and they're having a hard time getting clients because they're coaches. I say, you got to bring it
Oh,
down. You got to show them that you understand them. And especially
yes.
in the speaker, if you can connect with your audience in that way so that they understand you do understand them and that you can help them, it's brilliant.
Yes, yes, and even more so, and you'll see it in testimonies and stories, or if you're looking at a talk show and people, tell their stories, whether it's cerebral palsy or I was homeless for on the streets, and they make movies about the guy that was homeless and now he's a big investor. Actually, the worse off you are, the more relatable you are, because they're thinking, well, gee, I'm nowhere as bad as this guy, and look what he did. Ergo, I too can do it.
Exactly. And, one of the things that I always tell people when you're trying to sell from stage, you've got a product for back of the room sales, you have to look at being more relatable.
Yes.
And really, when I mess up, by accident,
Yeah.
it's even more brilliant because it becomes more relatable.
Good example. I'm going to miss him so much. Dave Letterman.
Yes.
There's a rudiment in comedy called self-deprecation, where you make fun of yourself and put yourself down. It's a standard, that one in sarcasm standard. Well, Dave Letterman, if you ever watch his monologue, I don't know if you can archive it or anything, but that was his main thing, was when his jokes failed, that's where he got humor from.
Exactly. Yeah. Even for myself, I've been on stage and I've got a speech impediment, and it's a little bit like dyslexia. So it does funny things for what comes out of my mouth. And sometimes it's just garble and people are like, what did she say? And sometimes it switches words or even changes words around. And sometimes it's very embarrassing. And other times, it's just what it is. So I just realize it happens. I address it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean that. Or, and people are like, oh, wow, she's got this problem and she's still doing it, even though this thing has happened.
Yeah.
So it just becomes very, very powerful. And I've had, one time I was at a women's conference, there was 2 young men there. Oh, they were gorgeous young men, 27, 26 years old. And they came up crying. Okay, how often do you make a young man cry? Anyways.
Wow.
And one of the boys was like, I have that same problem, and I didn't think I could be a speaker because I have this speech thing, and now I know I can do it. See? I just have to own it.
And here's another tip too, for those of you who are actors or want to do commercials. Even if you're not an actor, the script has flipped as far as ad agencies, because I do commercials and I get the scripts and the sides to read for the commercials, for the auditions. They're looking for what they call real people. So back in the day when I was coming up and they looked like Barbie and Ken on the commercials and everybody was perfect housewife and all of that, they're actually looking for overweight people, people that are frumpy, and like the kind of people you'd see in the Walmart or on the street. Those are the people that they're booking for the commercials now.
Exactly. They want relatability. That's what it's all about nowadays, And do you find that with people have that challenge of just kind of amping themselves up, don't you think you have to there's a difference between, like, obviously I'm not like, all day long.
Right. Right.
But when you bring it and you're on stage, there's an entertainment factor too.
Yes, there is an entertainment factor. And the entertainment, these are rudiments, of course. Vocal variety. As you said, you can be like, yeah, you know what? You need to get this product. But you know what? I feel that also you can do without it. So the variety of it. I was a music major initially. And so in learning music theory, one of the things they pointed out was that silence is a sound.
Yes.
There is a rest note in music as you read the music. And when that rest note is there, it actually amplifies when sound comes again. It makes that sound richer because there was a pause, there was silence. So knowing how to play those silences and pauses makes a difference in terms of how it's entertaining to the ear. Because if you're here all the time, you're at the same level all the time, people will tone out.
Exactly.
Tune out, brother. Yeah.
And especially in a lot of the speaking world now is virtual on the phone.
Yes.
So it's audio. And one of the things, we do a virtual summit every month with the Public Speakers Association. And one of the people always ask me, how do I do, Tonya? And always I'm like, voice variations.
Yes.
You like to bring it up and bring it down, and you know,
Right.
you like to give them, and then they're pushing in so much because it's only 25 minutes, and they're trying to talk, and they're trying to, oh, here's my website, blah 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 blah, and people are like, what? I'm like, slow it down. They've got to understand you. They want to see what else you have to say. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all wear me out.
Well, you know what? Actually, that speed and that's also a byproduct of nobody wants to hear me.
Yeah.
So let me get this all out of the way because I'm taking up too much of your time, and I'm so sorry for even speaking and existing and breathing air. So just let me get it out real quick, and I'm sorry for that. And you, if you ever call people and getting voicemails like that, okay, call my number and call me. I'm like, what's your rush? It's a voicemail message. I need to hear what you want me to say. What is your phone number? What is, you know? But
Yeah.
people they still don't feel the permission to take up your valuable time. And so they speak real fast and real loud to get out of the way.
Yes. You know, when I first started doing a lot of presentations at the very beginning, I pushed in so much because it's that value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to prove to them what I know. And the way to prove it is to push as much in there as possible, because if I don't, they won't value what I'm saying. And it doesn't really work that way.
Also, too, the other thing is, the more common thing is we imitate other people. You see, whether it's an actor, a comedian, or a dancer, when someone starts in that particular field, they think that they have to sound and look like that person. You know, as a comedian, we teach humor craft classes through Toastmasters sometimes, and we get people who have never did humor at all, and every one of them says the same thing: "I'm not funny. I'm not funny." Because they have a caricature image of what they think a comedian. He's really ebullient and out there, and I'm a comedian, you know, and they think that is how everyone has to be in order to be funny or to be a comedian. Same thing with speakers. I have to sound like Les Brown. I have to, you know, and Tony Robbins, and, you know, instead of finding out what their authentic self is and how they communicate.
I know. I remember that point where I knew I had crossed into a different arena of speaking. Is I went and spoke at a big event, and the next day I did like a VIP type of thing for the event that I was at, and I showed up, and like half the people suddenly was dressed like me. They had vests, and I was like. And they're like, see, I ran out and got me this outfit. And I was like, I got little mini-me's. What? And I was like, no, own who you are and how you want to dress. You know, don't look like me.
Exactly.
Then who am I going to be?
And you know what? It's amazing. Your parents say things, and as kids, especially as teenagers, when you think you know everything, but they say things that you don't particularly think are all that deep initially. But my mother used to, when we were teenagers and we were getting, you know, our little jobs and getting our silk and wool pants and Italian knit shirts that was popular in the 60s, my mother would tell us, don't look like everyone else. She said, even go to a different store and don't tell anyone where you went to get your clothes. And so that was kind of ingrained in me as a child to always be different.
Wow, that's incredible. I know. You know, I was just talking about this exact subject with my husband, because we look back at our teen years and we never fit in. I was just the kid that was weird and never fit in.
Oh, yeah.
And I wore my aunt's 70s outfits. Okay, this was during, you know, Dash and, you know, skin type, bright blue jeans, you know, and I was wearing bell bottoms, and then I got my grandmother's outfits from the 50s and 60s, you know, with the petticoats and everything. I just was weird.
Yeah.
That was before weird was cool and everything.
Right.
But I loved it, and that's who I was, you know.
And actually, it's attractive to people because you're doing something. Even for people who become entrepreneurs, I learned this in a class. The first day, the speaker, she was like our opening speaker. She said, be prepared to be hated by your friends, your relatives, and coworkers because you're doing something they're afraid to do.
Yes.
And so she said, I'm telling you this so that when it happens, you won't think there's something wrong with you. And so for you to look weird and be different, you're doing something that they're afraid to do. That, you know, because everybody wants to be with the peers and followers. A lot of people are followers, but for you to stand out like that, they're like, wow, she's cool.
Yeah, you know you made it when people start dressing like you and you get your
Yes.
hate mail and you're like, I got hate mail.
Yeah. That's it.
Cool. This person totally doesn't resonate with me. I was like, that's amazing.
I'm a winner. They hate me.
Yay. You know, it's kind of one of those weird moments in life. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, look, it's a real hate mail.
You're nobody unless somebody hates you, Tonya.
It's so funny because then you're like, you know, I don't really like them either, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a reason there's a delete button and a block button. I'm just
Exactly.
saying.
And the thing, and you have to really assess this accurately. The fact that someone took time and precious emotional energy to hate you out of the millions of people they could have focused on is a compliment.
Yeah, you know, and you especially when you put yourself out there, there's going to be sayings that you say that, you know, get somebody upset, and you have to
Yeah.
just be okay with it. That's just reality. You know,
Yes.
you can't resonate with everyone, and focus on those you do and that get
Yes.
you and they love you. Don't focus on the negative people because they never matter anyways.
Exactly.
You can't do
Exactly.
anything about it. So I know, Alan, you've got an amazing offer that you're giving everybody to connect with you. What is that?
Well, as a performance coach, I can offer you 6 sessions, which will get you from where you are now. And actually, I can shoot you, videotape you in a before and after. So I'll videotape you, and I'll have some sample things for you to speak, whether it's a monologue or a short paragraph for you to read or say, or if you can bring something yourself, even better. And I'll shoot you at the beginning without any input from me at all. Then we'll go through the 6 sessions, and at the end of it, we'll tape you again so you can see the before and after. So you actually have tangible proof that it was worth your time. And during that time, you'll learn the theater rudiments of how to move. Your movement makes a difference. Stage movement, along matching what you're saying, how to capture a character. For example, it's better to be it than to tell it. When you're communicating to someone, rather than describe it about your auntie, be your auntie as you're telling the story. It makes it more enjoyable and entertaining. So all of those things, and I customize it to you. And so I can do that. So all you have to do is give me a call or email me, and we can set up a session. And I have an assessment form right here. What's the world without widgets? We got to have widgets. Fill out a widget, which will help me assess you, so that it's not a cookie cutter thing. And what we could do, and I'm a firm believer that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you happen to come before me and you're like killing it, I'm like, you don't need me. You know, we'll just tweak it here and tweak it there and enhance that, and off you go.
Nice. So how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me at 630-631-9239. That's 630-631-9239. Or you can email me at ALLEN_DENNIS_EDGE@yahoo.com. So it's Alan Dennis Edge at yahoo.com.
Perfect. Well, I've loved you being on the show today. I absolutely want you to come back.
Thank you.
Again. And make sure everyone not only get connected, but really reach out and take that next step, because Alan is one of those type of people that can help you get there, you know, and a lot of times, especially what keeps you back is the things you just can't see yourself. So it's important to have people like Alan view the part that you can't see.
Exactly.
And so, yes, please reach out, keep connecting to him on social media, and check out his website, and then email him and call him. And also make sure you go to Public Speakers with an S, association.com. We want to help you get out and change lives. That's why our
Yes.
motto is change the
Yes.
world from the front of the room. So stop keeping yourself in the corner. Go out there, become a star, because you deserve it, and you deserve to help other people.
Exactly.
Right? And it's about you changing other people's lives. And guess what? Make some money too.
Hey, some dough.
And also, you get connected to so many incredible AAA personalities. Yes, we're all weird, but join our weird club.
Yeah. Weird rules.
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Tonya Hofmann, and I'm excited to get to know you. So get in touch with me soon. Bye. Bye, Alan. See you soon.
Adios. See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.